Warning: what you're about to learn might cause sudden bursts of curiosity and uncontrollable thinking. Don't worry, it won't hurt. Let's get started. We live in a world that is ready to be moved for its blessing and betterment. Yet how do we go about improving the systems and the lives of those around us? How do we inspire our children to study, our friends to practice healthy habits, our groups to adopt moral improvements, or ourselves to start something new with a possible payoff in the future? Heraclitus, the Greek philosopher, is famous for his description of the constantly changing river. Yet both man and river are in flux. The world is complex and adapts as we adapt to it. The illusion is that problems and obstacles are permanent, pervasive, and personal rather than temporary, specific, and external. Hence, the complexity of our task is that we are in motion, the world is in motion, and the people we would like to move are in motion, all with varying degrees of ability to avoid, resist, or overcome our attempts to alter their inertia. Today, some estimates suggest that 40% of our time is spent on non-sales selling, otherwise called moving or influencing people, as we try to solve problems and make our world better. What causes someone to engage in non-sales selling? The catalyst usually isn't economic or power-related, though they remain possibilities. Often, the impetus to change a trajectory is in hope of experiencing greater happiness for ourselves and others. The philosopher's shorthand is the calculus for charting the right tension between overlapping and competing factors, polar opposites, to optimize that elusive and fragile emotional state. Does one choose instant or delayed gratification in response to a craving or a gnawing sense of restlessness? Even more fundamental, what does an individual connect happiness to? What are the examples we use to point to what happiness looks like so we can imitate and recreate it? With the addition of wisdom gained either by lived experience, trial and error, or vicarious learning, a person begins to value the effort in building the right systems and habits in order to lead to the best outcomes. Once the preferred algorithm and outcome has been chosen, then the perseverance and self-denial necessary to make progress becomes a necessity, along with a healthy dose of heuristic navigation through unfamiliar and ambiguous situations. This is where dreams falter as the current systems of our lives and groups seek to survive another day. It's literally a battle of ways of life. Will the new arrive, or will the old fend it off for a little while longer? Where does the energy come from to start and start again until the project is finished or the change has occurred? Will the fuel be renewable or externally derived, expensive and limited? The traditional carrot and stick approach to motivation can be short-sighted and counterproductive. By narrowly and artificially defining what is praiseworthy or punitive, intrinsic motivation and creative problem-solving become alienated from behavior. Like using melatonin to fall asleep, a person relying on external sources of catalysts results in a weakening of the internal system of production. Instead, utilizing the power of open-ended questions to heighten situational awareness encourages a person to step outside themselves in order to assess whether their current systems, habits and outcomes align with who they think they are and, more importantly, who they want to be. One may ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to do this or that? With the follow-up being, why didn't you choose a lower number? As a person seeks to gather resources for a change from a state of rest to a state of motion, they may realize that investment leads to ownership, which leads to discipline, which allows for the possibility of freedom. A free person practices mastery moment by moment, to such an extent that reason often prevails over emotion and appetite for the purpose of continually improving the skill of achieving desired outcomes. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, how ready are you to move yourself or others for their blessing or betterment? Why isn't your number lower? Remember, learning isn't about being perfect, it's about being brave enough to grow.